Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Prog Monster. Excuse me. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, and heavy metal and other forms of rock music. So today we're doing our end of the month hauls. So it's the end of June. Got a fairly big stack here. I think there's about 20. I got a couple of albums that I'm not putting in the list because they're doubles. I bought them to replace some older albums that I had. So I'm not going to put them in the list. But anyways, not a lot of prog stuff this month. Only the one album, really, I think. Yeah, the rest of its stuff's a little bit of blues, a little bit of rhythm and blues, some hard rock stuff, some pop stuff, and some stuff other than rock, and a few other things like that. So anyways, for those of you who don't know what this is a once a month I do a haul, which is basically any stuff that I've collected over the month that's new to me. Either I purchased it, or I traded for it, or somebody gave it to me, or I bought it, or whatever, right? Anyways, so that's normally what I do. So once a month I go through the new stuff. I'm just rearranging this slightly. So we're going to start off with, I got some pretty good stuff this month. I haven't had a chance to listen to a lot of it. I got such a backlog of stuff to listen to. But at any rate, I have listened to this first one in its entirety once. I like it. I wasn't sure I would because it's Pink Floyd. No Roger Waters on here, so hard to know what you're going to get. But I like it. It's very good. I like the back cover quite a bit too. Pretty much similar, but this one's a little bit lighter in color, more metallic looking. So I like the inside disc color too. Looks pretty solid. And it comes with a booklet, of course, because almost all of them do now. Some nice shots. That's a nice observatory shot. Just some really interesting stuff on the inside. Just different, typical. So this album features, of course, the three members that stayed with the group: Rick Wright, Nick Mason, and of course David Gilmour. So pretty solid album. It's got that David Gilmour vocal sound to it, which I really like about Pink Floyd. It's one of the big factors of getting into Pink Floyd was his vocal style. Also, the music is very. The only thing about the music is it's a little bit kind of a little bit quieter. It's a lot more mellow than some of their previous stuff. But I like it quite a bit, and I think I just put it in backwards. No, I didn't. I'm good. I put something in backwards. Oh well. Try it again. So how did I do this? Okay, I see. I was looking at it from the other way and I put it in upside down. Anyways, a pretty solid album. I've listened through it once. The mellowness kind of reminds me of some of like Adam Hart Mother and stuff like that. However, there's not all that intricate noises that you get that's Pink Floyd's famous for, but it's not a bad album. It's pretty solid. Okay, the next album was an album I spotted. I don't even know where I seen it. It was somewhere. I spotted it out of the corner of my eye, and just the colors of it. Really good album. I remember seeing these guys. They were back up for Triumph, which is kind of a weird mix, but Teenage Head. This is Teenage Head's, God, I don't even know the name of it. Frantic City. Got some of the great stuff by Teenage Head, including of course, Let's Shake, sorry. That's, Let's Dance is Bowie. This is Let's Shake. Really good. They're good live band. Kind of a punky band. They came out and were around in the time period where I still had a lot of punk influence inside me, and I liked them quite a bit. So there you go, Frantic City. The other one is Some Kind of Fun, but I don't have that album. But this one is definitely worth listening to. Now, wait a minute. To be honest with you, I think I misunderstood. I did. I totally misunderstood what this was. I thought this was Frantic City, and it's actually both Frantic City and Some Kind of Fun. It's a combination album. I didn't look at it till I opened it and looked inside, and it's got both of them. So there you go. I got both. Pretty good. Pretty solid. 2 good albums for the price of one. Pretty solid. Both albums are pretty solid. They're a pretty punky band. Not volatile punky, but pretty punky anyways. The next one up, somebody who I'm starting to like quite a bit, at least this versions of him. I've got a couple already, and this will be the third one, Neil Young and Crazy Horse. I really like their kind of raw sound. It's a little more rocky than some of his own stuff. Just his own stuff. But, a lot of times this is labeled under his discography for Neil Young. You'll see all the Crazy Horse albums too, because there's not really a hell of a lot of difference between the two, I don't find. I just find that this group of guys tends to be a little bit more ragged, a little bit more raw, and a lot more energy. So, and I enjoy the sound quite a bit by them. So, yeah, another good find for me. Now we've got 2 from this next guy. One of them is an album I seen out and didn't get. I have the first 2. So now I got the first 3. This one's pretty solid though. I like it quite a bit. SRV, or Stevie Ray Vaughan. Great guitar player. Pretty bluesy, rhythm and bluesy sound to him. Real, when you're in the mood for rhythm and blues, this is the guy, I think. The big guy. Then, of course, we have this live one, which is... actually, it's not a live one. Sorry, this is a tribute. I forgot the live one I did last month, I think. Tribute by various artists to Stevie Ray Vaughan. I guess this occurred after his death. Without my glasses, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I will in 1 second. Okay, yeah, this album was released in '96, so it's a tribute by various artists towards Stevie Ray Vaughan, including his brother Jimmy Vaughan. So, Bonnie Raitt's on it, Jimmy Vaughan, of course, B.B. King, Buddy Guy, Eric Clapton, Robert Cray, Dr. John. Yeah, so some pretty... Art Neville, he's on here as well. So some pretty known bluesy type players playing some Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff. Looking forward to listen to this. I haven't yet. I guess we'll find out how good it is or it isn't. The disc came in pretty good shape. Now I think all the artists play on all the songs, and then who's ever doing the vocals is listed. Anyways, pretty solid. Next up, continuing with my collections, which is growing, which is the Heart magazine. Now, magazine was that Mushroom album that was a bit controversial. That's the one that came out when they were battling with the Mushroom Records, because Mushroom Records had tried to put it out without their permission, changed it up. They said things about Nancy and Ann Wilson that both took great offense to, and as they would, and basically they did it to try and draw interest in, so they could sell the album. But I think this album was held off. It was supposed to be their number 2 album. I believe that was the story, don't get me wrong, but I think it was supposed to be their number 2 album, and was held off because of court battle, and ended up being their number 3 album behind Little Queen. But still pretty solid album. No huge hits on this one, but I guess Heartless might qualify. But it's a pretty solid album. I don't mind it. Anyway, so it helps towards the completion of my Heart collection, which I really much like to do. It is not sticking on very well. Anyways, the next one up is also Heart, and this is their Dog and Butterfly album, which is I like quite a bit. It's got Straight On is on this album. Of course, I like Dog and Butterfly quite a bit, and The Minstrel Wind are all on this album. Haven't listened to this album in its entirety ever. I have listened to bits and pieces at different times, but not in its entirety. Nice shot of the girls here. And then, of course, the whole group. I think this might have been the last album with the originals on it. Could be wrong. I think maybe there might have been one more after this one. Anyway, some really pretty good solid stuff on here. And of course, you know, very few vocalists out there match Ann Wilson in range or power, at least in the female side anyways. Okay, so the next one up, and I got two of these, so I'm wondering where the second one is. Just give me 1 second. I think I know what I did with it. And I'm not seeing it. I could have put it up here. Where, oh, where can you be? Okay, so I've misplaced it somewhere. But anyways, we'll talk about this one. It's basically the same album twice. Okay, so I got this version, which was on, this is Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic, solid album. I have two versions of it. I have this version, which is the Columbia version. Actually, I remember where it is now. It's right in here with the stuff that I'm getting rid of. Yep, here it is. Forgot that I put it in there. Okay, same two albums. Virtually identical, except for this one is the remastered version. So it has a little bit of a different sound to it. Both are in good shape. But this is the one that I'm keeping, the Columbia version, because it's, see, if you look at the back of this album versus the back of this album, very different backs. The fronts are identical. This one's a little bit darker. This one's a little bit darker in color, but this one I think is the original album cover, original label, original release of the songs. This is just a remastered version. So the remastered is on my list of albums too. I got 3 or 4 that I usually sell to a particular guy that I go to, and I don't get much for them, but I get enough to buy something else that I want, which is, usually I get them for $1 or $2, so if I make $1 on it, that's fine. I'm not looking to make money off of it. I saw them both. They were both there in the same place. I took them both. I listened to them both. I like the original version better, so I keep it. And the other one I put into the sales stack, so that I can trade it for something that I might want. Now I got really lucky too, because I had this album before, but I didn't get it on CD, and then I saw it for $1. Led Zeppelin 1. It's one of the few Zeppelins I don't have. This is great. Some good stuff on this album. Is it one of my favorite Zeppelin albums? No, I don't think it's in the top 5, but even the bottom 5 albums by Zeppelin are good, though. Whatever they happen to be, I don't know. I haven't done a ranking of the Zeppelin albums yet, but that might be coming. As I complete my collections, I'm going to want to do a few rankings, and Led Zeppelin's on that list. So the next album up was this one, Third Stage. I think this is the third album by Boston. It's got this big hit, Amanda, and some decent stuff on here. I like the album cover quite a bit. I think this is one of the few, though, that doesn't have that starship on it. Yeah, I don't think the others. I think all the other ones have the classical kind of Boston starship on the front cover there that they had on the first album. I think that's on all of them, except for this one doesn't have it. It just has this kind of low orbit ship. That's Earth, I would assume. It's got a little bit of writing on it at the bottom here. Somebody had written on it, but Haven't had a chance to listen to this particular copy of it yet, but Boston, it's hard to get anything good because they take so long to produce albums, and then the last couple of them just been, forget about it, I don't even want to hear them. Okay, next up is a band that I've grown to like a lot. I listened to them when I was a kid, but I never really got into it. I think it was too poppy at the time, really wasn't my style, so I never really followed them much. But in recent years, they've grown on me a lot, and that's this album, Steely Dan's Katie Did. Katie Lied? Katie Lied, sorry. Katie Did is an animal, right? Anyways, pretty solid. Got it for a reasonable price. I was happy to get it. They're hard to get. All of the other stuff like Asia and that, just hard to find. And when you do find them, they're like $20 and $30 a piece. Where this one I got for like $9, so I was happy. Haven't listened to it yet, but it's on the list. Lots of stuff on the list to be listened to. Just time is a big factor right now. Okay, so the next one up was the one album by this group that I wanted. I like the group. Not one of my favorite. Not a band I go to a lot, but this album I love. Double Vision by Foreigner. Now I have had this before. Back in the beginning of my moving into different music, which was in the late 70s, early 80s. This was one of the first albums I got. I love it. I still like it a lot. It's got probably my favorite Double Vision with the title track, which is probably my favorite Foreigner song. Next up is a group that I don't listen to much, but I like this particular. There's a couple of particular tracks on here I don't mind. U2's Joshua Tree. Now, whether I'll spend a lot of time with this album or even a little time with it, it's hard to say. Probably will listen to it though. I usually give every album at least one shot. The next two albums are two albums I've had before, both on cassette. One of them on album. One of them I had on album, cassette, and German version album. This one, Shock the Monkey, on this album. So this is what they would call Security. Some people call it Peter Gabriel 4. I've never heard it called that until recently. I've always just called it Security. Got like a lot of really good tracks on here. Rhythm of the Heat, San Jacinto, I Have the Touch, Shock the Monkey, Lay Your Hands on Me, Kiss of Life. Just top to bottom, one of his best albums, I think. The other one is this one, another Gabriel, the Gabriel 2 or Scratch if you prefer. Really solid, again, really solid tracks. It's a bit older. Oops, sorry. Just trying to come out of that. Wasn't sealed in there. Nice red interior. I love the album cover, of course, and the back part. So on this is like on the air, DIY, Mother of Violence, A Wonderful Day in a One-Way World, Great, White Shadow, Indigo, Minimal Magic, I think that's what it's called. Animal Magic, I don't know what I was thinking. Exposure, Flotsam and Jetsam, Perspective, Home Sweet Home. Top to bottom, another really solid album. And Gabriel doesn't have any albums that aren't solid. He's basically, all of his albums are high twos, ones, and one masterpiece. And I think I'm going to be putting him this month into my group of 8. No longer group of 7. It's been group of 7 now for going back to about 2003. So a good 19 years it's been a group of 7. Had a couple of incidents where somebody got in and made it a group of 8 for a brief period of time. This is Gabriel's second time in, and I don't think he's going anywhere this time though. I really like his stuff quite a bit. Next album up, Paul Simon. Also coming from that kind of worldly sound that Gabriel produces. That's Where I Belong. Senorita with the Necklace of Tears. I think it's got some good stuff on here. I don't think this is as good as Graceland or some of his older stuff, but I got it. I saw it. It was a couple of dollars, so I said, you know what, I'll take it. Took it. I'm happy with it. I'll get to listen to that sometime. Now this one was an album that I've liked these guys for a very long time, predating my rock history probably. And this comes with 2 discs, so it has everything on here that I could like about these 2 guys, the brothers, Everly Brothers, Don and Phil. Lots of really good stuff here. Not something I will listen to a ton, but it is rock in a kind of pop. It's kind of a pop rock, folky kind of sound to it. For those of you who don't know who the Everly Brothers are. Yeah, so it's that they were kind of a big thing in the 50s. They're both gone now, of course. Then, of course, now, oh yeah, and then this one, Legend. And the reason I took this is because I probably have most of these tracks already, but there's a little bit of stuff on here with Peter Toth singing as well, so I think this will be probably a pretty solid listening to as well. My reggae days are probably over, but I still like to listen. Once in a while, I like to throw on something different. And of course, I got 2 more Nat King Cole's. This one's a Christmas album. Gotta have your Christmas Nat King Cole, right? And the last one is the Golden Grates, which is the one that I had on cassette and probably wore it out, but it's got like some of my favorites that I couldn't find on the other stuff. There's like 20 songs on here. Another great one. Another great collection of him. Some of his best songs, Sweet Lorraine, Straighten Up and Fly Right, Smile, Unforgettable, of course, Portrait of Jenny, which is one of my favorites, and just about all the stuff you could like by him is on this album. So there you have it. Those are my albums collected, purchased, bought, or traded for this month. Most of them were bought. Most of them for reasonably cheap prices. A couple of them I had to open the bank a bit, but was happy to get them all. And got some, starting to run out of space in my unlistened to stuff, so I'm going to have to start doing some real listening to quite a bit here so I can make some more room. Anyway, so that's it for the month of June. So next month is July. Big month. I think probably will be quite a bit of stuff this month. That's usually my busiest month. And it's also coming up to the anniversary of my channel, which will be August the 1st. I know that it probably says July, or it might even say May or June on there, but that's because I originally started doing something else and I didn't like it. I couldn't do it because of my leg. It makes it hard for me to walk and do a lot of that stuff, so I decided that I would go with my passion here, which is rock music, and classical rock music to boot, and progressive classical rock to boot, all of that. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and let me know if you have any experience with any of these albums that I might want to listen for. Anyways, I hope you have a great day. So from Prog Monster, I forgot to tell you, please subscribe, please like if you enjoy the video, and have yourself a great day. Bye.